I sense the rumblings of something big. Joe Biden has struck the final nail in the coffin of the Democrats' moral high ground with a reckless pardon for Hunter Biden, and not even the liberal dogmatist in Jon Stewart could help but take him to task for it. You need to take a look at this for yourself because I think it's a template for a much broader sentiment in the party.
Faith in the rule of law. Finally, Democrats have a moral perch from which they can judge without shame, hypocrisy, or nuance.
Breaking news, President Biden has issued a pardon for his son Hunter Biden.
Mother... We were so close. But you know what? Good, get fine. It's good. It's right. It's his right. He's an 82-year-old man. Doesn't want to spend the rest of his life visiting his son in prison. Republicans get away with this shit all the time. I'm sure the pardon is a narrowly written, precisely drawn farewell note of compassion for a loved one.
The pardon sweeping, covering offenses that Hunter Biden, quote, has committed or may have committed or taken part in over the past 11 years.
Years is a very specific and not rounded amount of time.
That's gotta hurt, especially if you're a stuck-up Democrat who prides themselves on some sense of moral superiority. But Jon Stewart isn't the first to notice that this pardon is unlike any other presidential pardon that has happened in recent history, and there's two reasons for that. For one, most pardons happen after a conviction has already been reached, not before cases even begin, and more importantly, giving a clean chit to over a decade doesn't just protect you from past conviction, but also future ones in case more details or allegations arise. By the way, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more daily takedowns just like this. Now, there's something even more peculiar about the dates that Biden chose to clean Hunter's slate for, which many alleged is not just protecting Hunter, but also himself by stopping any cases dead in their track. As part of the full pardon gives, quote, a full and unconditional pardon to those offenses against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from the 1st of January 2014 through December 1st, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted. So what is it that goes back as far as 11 years ago? Other than broad justifications for clemency, this is a finer point that no Democrat in Washington or in the media has been able to explain.
So Hunter, I'll give you a pardon, a few years, 5 years, 10 years. It needs to be 11. And if you would be so kind, make sure this upcoming New Year's Eve is also covered. I didn't know pardons could cover crimes you may have committed. I'm sorry. I'm surprised Biden didn't include the phrase on Earth 1 or any of the Earths in the multiverse. Now, some would say that's what any loving father would do for their troubled son or daughter, should they have the power. The rest of the Fox cinematic universe was no happier.
Not only the worst president in U.S. history, but also the most corrupt.
This entire administration has been nothing but a sham.
He and his family are so full of slime that Nickelodeon is going to sue for trademark infringement.
You, Joe Biden.
You, Joe Biden? Megyn Kelly, who do you think you are? Me? What am I supposed to say now? It was my line. You've stolen my line. At long last, have you no decency?
It is incredible to see someone turn his cannons on Biden the moment that he's intellectually cornered, and why wouldn't he be? If you look at the two cases for which he was due for sentencing in December, the tax case for which he pled guilty and the gun ownership case, you realize that it was just the tip of the iceberg for Hunter's probable legal troubles ahead. And they could move forward, then his father wasn't the president. For one, here's the curious little detail that matches up perfectly to the dates of the pardon. Back in 2023, these indictments for these cases mention Hunter Biden joining the board of Ukrainian energy company Burisma in the words, quote, "In or around April 2014, the defendant joined the board of directors of Burisma Holdings Limited, a Ukrainian industrial conglomerate. Burisma agreed to pay the defendant an annual salary of approximately $1 million to be paid in monthly disbursements. This could have proven to be the perfect handle for the incoming Trump administration under an FBI director as stringent as Kash Patel to pull out several new cases against Hunter. Not just that, it's going to make this a lot easier for Donald Trump on the rhetorical front, not just by giving him ammo against the Biden family, but also political leverage to pardon J6 protesters that Trump has signaled his intention to do."
Obviously, Republicans are going to criticize, but Biden did make this line of attack particularly available, seeing as how he spent so long saying he wouldn't do it because of how much he respects the system.
I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Hypocrisy isn't illegal, nor is it particularly unusual in politics. It's not like he's ever going to run again, so why not take care of your kid? Even if you said you weren't gonna. I respect it. I don't have a problem with it. The problem is the rest of the Democrats made Biden's pledge to not pardon Hunter the foundation of their defense of America, this grand experiment.
And you know what? They're left pretty high and dry because of what Biden did in the waning days of his presidency. It's because while Joe Biden may have nothing to lose, the Democrats that attach their name and reputation to him certainly do. That's why even a Biden stalwart like Gavin Newsom had to come out and distance himself from the president's actions to save face, saying, quote, "With everything the president and his family have been through, I completely understand the instinct to protect Hunter, but I took the president at his word, so by definition, I'm disappointed and can't support the decision." And even KJP's having a really tough time making sense to the press in this brief question put to her aboard Air Force One.
"You have said repeatedly yourself since the election, the president has said for months, no pardon was coming. I wanted to ask you, could those statements now be seen as lies from the American people? Is there really a credibility issue here given now this announcement?"
First of all, one of the things that the president always believes is to be truthful to the American people. That is something that he always truly believes. And if you see the end of his, I assume that you've read his statement, and you look at the end of that statement, and he actually says that in the first line in the last paragraph, and respects the thinking and how the American people will actually see this in his decision making. And I would encourage everyone to read in full the president's statement. I think he lays out his thought process. He lays out how he came to this decision. He came to this decision this weekend. So let's be very clear about that. He says it himself. It's in his voice. He said he came to this decision this weekend. And he said he wrestled with this. And because he believes in the justice system, but he also believes that the war politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice.
That's not a good look for an administration that's on its way out, and in fact, it's basically just an act of self-sabotage for Joe Biden when it comes to his career and political legacy. But even if you're one of those people that understand the decision from a personal angle, there's no arguing the fact that it's going to make things a lot harder for the party at large that is already facing a crisis of leadership and a lack of moral high ground. There's some rumors that Joe Biden insisted Joe to pardon their son, which is why he switched the decision in the last phase of presidency. But whatever the case may be, the reaction of the left-wing media is at least one signaling of the broader sentiment of disappointment we see. Let me know in the comments if you agree and share this video with people that need to see it. This act of pardon is both unconventional in its nature and likely will also be outsized in its political impact given the incoming administration.